Hi, thanks for joining me here for a little bit as I talk about some of my thoughts from the inside. A younger clown wrote to me recently and just asked me about doing characters because he sees, like on my Facebook page, that I do numerous different types of looks and characters in my clowning, and those have developed through the years. So I just thought I'd run you through some of my thoughts on that. I started off clowning in 1980. I joined a group of clowns at the college I was at. We went and visited kids in the children's hospital. We also visited people at nursing homes and did a couple things for like children's church programs. And when we first started, though, I did white makeup. I guess we'd say I was a white face. The thing is, there were 17 of us clowns, and all of us did white because honestly, we didn't even know that there was anything different than white because we were basically all self-taught. At that point, the only clowns we knew were Ronald McDonald, who has the white base, and Bozo. So he had the white base, and I honestly didn't even know for a couple of years that there was anything more than that. We just put on the white makeup and giant red mouth and crazy looking clothes from Salvation Army and went out and did clowning. So found out how to work with an audience, started learning some fun different techniques and things, but really didn't understand a whole lot about character except the fact that we were trying to be more like a cartoon. Cartoon characters, they get slapped and hit and fall down and get crunched and boom, they're up again, the next time. So slapstick was a big part of what I was doing. I was fortunate to meet a guy named Michael O'Shaughnessy, who was a former Ringling Circus clown. And that's when I started learning a lot more about stylized clowning and personalities and characters and things like that. The college I went to was a strict conservative Christian college. At that point in time, guys were not allowed to even have facial hair. Couldn't have beards, couldn't have mustaches, things like that. So during the summer months, I would grow a beard. Then I'd go back to college, shave it off. And so I wanted to keep clowning, but I understood that the white face wasn't probably going to work for that. But somebody said, oh, there was a clown named Emmett Kelly, and he was kind of a hobo character. And so I started wearing the beard, the literal beard, and tried to do makeup that would be more like a hobo clown. That's when Simon the Clown was born. That's when I started off doing this other character. The other one with the white base, I knew as Micah the Clown. So now because out of necessity, I started doing the hobo type stuff because I liked having a beard. But the more I clowned, the more I learned about how I internally thought, felt, could feel what worked with an audience. And I think that's really where we develop our character the best, isn't by sitting down and making a list necessarily, but by being with people. And you find out, your audience tells you who your character is. They tell you what works and they tell you what doesn't work. And through that, your character is crafted. Now, I clowned and I was getting some good response, but I remember being at the Fellowship of Christian Magicians convention, performing at their international show. There's over 1,000 people in the audience. And I did this thing as Simon the Clown where I came in and I was cleaning. I'm kind of like a custodian. I have a broom. I'm cleaning up stuff. I have a garbage can. And I walk on stage, though, and I find all this magic stuff set up. And, of course, I start playing with it, and it explodes, and it blows up, and all this stuff happens. So there was some pretty good comedy from that because that character is just very naive. Doesn't know what to do and doesn't know how things work. And so he discovers these things. That's what I do as Simon. When I got done, there was a guy that talked to me outside and he said, "Hey, that was pretty fun, pretty funny. I usually don't like clowns, but that was pretty funny." He said, "But I mean, you're wearing an outfit that's just like, I mean, you could buy that at a Salvation Army. I mean, have you ever thought about looking like a real clown?" And as you can tell, I still remember that. It hit me pretty hard. And I decided that I would come back the next year and be impressive. It's part of my history. So I went back to the whiteface idea and Micah the Clown, reborn. And I wanted to be, yes, impressive, in charge. I was kind of tired of actually being the stupid character all the time. And that's what I did as Simon. And so I wanted to be in charge. Bozo the Clown is in charge. Ronald McDonald is in charge. They're not stupid characters. And so I started aiming at that. Now, I was traveling full-time, doing probably 5, 6, 7 kids programs per week. And that way I could change up the character I was doing. Now, it's not that, I recommend for the most people, just work on one. Just do one well. But since I was doing this full-time, I felt like I could do the straight man, whiteface, the one that was more in charge and talented and sparkly and impressive. And then the next night I could do the stupid character. And honestly, both those are part of me and who I am. I just exaggerate them out, those different personality characteristics, and exaggerate those out in the clown world. And so they're both built off my own personality, honestly. Now, after I clowned for, I think it was 11 or 12 years, I was able to meet Arthur Pedler. And I saw what he did, not just as his old man, dotty old man character, but he also did other characters where he would put on nose glasses and a hat, and he would perform Old Bill. Old Bill. Old Bill was a cartoon character from World War II. And Old Bill was credited by, I believe by Winston Churchill, for helping the British folks even just make it through the war, because it brought comic relief to a lot of the pain and craziness that was going on during the war. And Arthur Pedler would quote and do his monologues of Old Bill, and it was magic. I mean, it just, it was so inspiring. And I thought, I want to do it like that. Now, I understand Arthur Pedler had 40 years of clown experience, and he had never done a children's show. He only clowned in adult venues, meaning like he performed on the French Riviera, and he'd do a late night cabaret. And he was very skilled and talented. And I thought, I want to do something that speaks into the adult world also. And so I was inspired by not only Arthur, but also Red Skelton and Victor Borga. And so I started developing this presentation as this old man clown character named Mr. Oxford P. Nuts. Now, this was so different because most of my clowning, like as Simon, was walk on the stage and let it fly. I love improv. I love the stupidity of the character. But Oxford P. Nuts, it's almost more like a one-man off-Broadway show where actually 95% of the program is scripted, and then I committed it to memory. Theatrical clowning. Very different than this other stuff. So those are three main characters that I do, and they each developed differently. I have Micah, I have Simon, I have Oxford P. Nuts. Now, in this day, this age, this culture, there's times that people were not very interested in the real clownish, traditional clown look. And as I kept working on mime, I thought I'd like to do something more like a silent screen character. Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin-esque. I still could do clowning, but just with this slightly different feel. And so I did this look that was more silent screen, very light Auguste, and I call him Rudy. And I call him Rudy because, honestly, my brother-in-law, Chuck Pruitt, used to call me Rudy all the time. Instead of Randy, he'd call me Rudy. And so I started doing this. And it was really part of my personality. I would say what I do as Rudy usually is more so, it's halfway between Simon and Micah. I do like a little bit of both. It's still part of my personality, but it's a different look. And I find different venues want different looks. I don't necessarily have to change the personality or the things I'm performing. I'm just giving them a different look because it fits what they want. So my good friend and mentor, Janet Tucker, a number of years ago said to me, she said, Randy, I really think Micah the Clown is who you'd like to be. Impressive, flashy. You walk in a room and people go, ooh. He said, I think Oxford Peanuts is who you're gonna be. Old man clown. But I think Simon the Clown is who you really are. And I think she's right. As I do Micah, I'm more acting the part. Oxford, absolutely acting the part. I pull a lot from remembering my dad becoming old. I walk like him. I move like him. Simon the Clown is probably really who I am on the inside. And then I let it out in an exaggerated, cartoonish, clowning way. So there's different looks, but I think the heart of the clown remains the same. That's how my characters, my personas have grown through the years. Oxford Peanuts, I do have 3 main shows I do as him, all committed to memory, all scripted and laid out. So I can go 2 or 3 years and not perform Oxford unless I'm booked for this specific show at a specific venue. Micah the Clown, Rudy, look, Simon, I can interact and flow with people in a lot of different settings. That's how the characters have developed for me over the last 40 plus years of clowning.